And
Well,
we're live.
welcome. Yeah, welcome to everyone to today's episode of Did She Really Say That? It's the podcast where we're literally tearing apart the way women build their business, how we've traditionally been taught to build our business. And we're actually saying probably a lot of the opposite of what you've been taught in how to build your business. Well, my name is Karen Angeli. I'm one of the co-founders here at Truth Bomb Marketing. I like to bring the fun. I like to bring the woo-woo. I was just on a really fun meditation retreat. And does that go together? Fun meditation retreat? Like literally, like it just, yeah, my mind has been blown. My life is completely changed. But I like to bring the fun. I like to bring the woo-woo. And I like to help women build a business in a fun way where you don't feel stuck, where you don't feel frustrated, where you don't feel overwhelmed, where you just are actually enjoying the whole process.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Heidi Muma, and I spent about 17 plus years homeschooling my kids. And one of the things that I love to help women do is as you're building your business, how do you build that successful business without it overwhelming your life? And it's so how do you incorporate that into being part of your life and building your business as you're building your life and truly enjoying the whole process?
Yeah. So my name is Chef Katrina. They call me Chef because I spent 12 years at Disney in the kitchen. I transitioned into the online digital marketing space about a little over 15 years ago. And I have been teaching and training everything from funnels, emails, digital marketing processes, coaching programs, all that stuff. So what I bring to Truth Bomb and this academy and this incredible group of women is the simplification. I think there's a lot of overcomplication with all this new technology. So how do you simplify it so that you can focus in on your genius without letting technology overwhelm you? So I'm excited for today's training or conversation around, did she really say that? Because we always have fun here on today's podcast.
Yeah, and we're talking about audience building. And we were talking about this just before we got on here, where a lot of training out there will talk about how the rich is in the niches, and we talked about this last week. I feel like too, where we were kind of like, well, but wait a minute, it's not necessarily getting so niche down, because a lot of people tell you like, just keep niching. That's how you get specialized, and that's how people figure out who you are, because you're so specialized, and this is what you do different, and blah blah blah. And we were kind of like, that's bullshit.
Sorry, that's what we said. Yep.
Yeah. And we really did say that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, and I think we all agree on this, at the end of the day, it's more about that connection that people actually feel like they're a part of a community. And that when you're building an audience online, that can be a small community. That can be a community of 100 people. That could be a community of 1,000,000 people. It doesn't matter. What matters is that people feel connected and they feel like they're coming home and they feel like this is where I belong.
Yeah. It's like becoming the trusted advisor, right? I think that's one of the big things. Like I know when we talk about it inside of Unlocking My Millions, we talk about audience really as story building. Yeah. We talk about how you actually are building your story and you're putting your customer as the hero. And I think so many times when we get into the world of digital marketing, especially, right, we talk about personal branding, and personal branding sounds like all about me. Right? And it does, and it doesn't. So a personal brand means that you stand for something, right? A personal brand means that you have your core values. And I know we talked about this also inside of Unlocking Millions, My Millions. We talked about this in branding. Like, what are your core values? What do you stand by? What are you for? What are you against? If somebody does or says something, what are your non-negotiables? Like, where do you start setting your boundaries? And I think so many times as women in business, we don't have those boundaries set up because nobody's asking us those questions, right? So I think when we talk about what we're building for our audience, it's about telling that story. It's about inviting them into the story where they're going to have the success and where you kind of become, in my Star Wars term, the Yoda, right? So you're the Yoda, you've got your Padawan learner, and you're there to really guide them on their journey, not necessarily tell them what they're going to do and hold their hand step by step. I don't think women in general can actually copy each other, if that makes sense. I don't think women have the ability to say, okay, you did this and I'm going to do the exact same thing and have that same result.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of that is because we are the creative. We are the creator. So I feel like we have to take what's given to us. We need the structure, but we need to be left up to the creativity of how we're building our business, because our lives are so different from each other in terms of like who or what is in our lives, right? What's taking precedent, what's our number one priority, and then learning how to craft the business around that.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it really is too. And you said this, it really is about highlighting your audience, highlighting and making them be the hero of the story. And you're just the guide at the end of the day. You're just showing them what you discovered along the way. Many, I mean, I know when we started in Truth Bomb, we got it backwards too. And we've been, all of us in Truth Bomb Marketing have been doing marketing for years, and we still got it wrong because we were like, oh, like we made ourselves the hero on accident. And when we looked at our marketing, we were like, oh, no wonder we're not hitting the mark. No wonder people don't feel connected to us, because they don't feel like they're the hero. They don't feel like it's about them, because at the end of the day, your marketing, if you want to create any kind of audience online, you have to make your marketing about someone else. If I'm reading something on social media that has nothing to do with me, I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm literally going to read maybe a sentence of it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't really pertain to me. I'm not interested in that. Like, I mean, think about ads that are targeted to you that shouldn't be targeted to you. You're going to see it and you're going to be like, yeah, I don't want that. That's not important to me. Yeah. So the person that spent money on that ad just wasted their money on you. Think about that when you're building your audience. Are you wasting your time? Are you wasting your money by not actually getting to people where they already are, where you're not actually talking to them where they already are, where you're maybe like, and this is something else we did at Truth Bomb, you're talking 10 steps ahead of them instead of where they currently are. Like, building a business, it doesn't have to be rocket science, but it does have to be, how do you get a connection with somebody that obviously isn't in front of your face? They're behind a computer screen, they're behind their phone, whatever. But it's about actually figuring out like what's already going on in their head. What are the thoughts that they're already thinking, and connect with that. Because let's be honest, if every single person that's ever built a business has been in the same place at one time or another. I mean, you look at huge influencers like Rachel Peterson, Rachel Miller, Neil Patel. They all started from nowhere, literally started from absolutely nothing. They know what it feels like to post and have crickets.
Yeah.
But what they did differently than a lot of people on social media is they actually figured out, how do I connect with people on the platform that I'm building on? What are the things that people want on this platform? What are the things that people want online? Like, it's not even about social media. It's about, what do people actually want online? And when we finally got down to the nitty gritty and we kind of talked about this, we were like, well, our audience wants more time freedom. They want to spend time with their family. Like, they don't want to be sucked into their computer. I know one of our members inside of Truth Bomb, she was like, I looked at the calendar and realized I couldn't do this anymore. I had been in front of the computer for 12 hours straight every single day, 5 days a week. And I'd been doing it for years and I couldn't do it anymore. Looked at the calendar and said, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
That time freedom is so special for women. So we went, okay, it's definitely time freedom. And then we also went, but wait, women also want to make money. Like, at the end of the day, like, and this is a conversation we've had a lot too, where it's like, well, how come women don't want to make loads of money? Like, what's that about?
But at the end
I know, exactly. So, but at the end of the day, we go into business because we want to be profitable, right? Like we don't go into business because we want to just play and get in the hole from
Yeah.
all the things that we've been paying for our business. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to do that. So we want to be profitable at the end of the day too.
And not just a getting by profitable. Like I hear that so many times from women. They're like, oh, I just want to have, I want to pay my bills and just have a little bit more. Like they
I
hear
can't
that.
believe that.
No.
Yeah. And I think
Ew.
that's such a programming for us because like we were sharing in our last episode around this because these are all tying in. Like this is an ongoing conversation. But when you tell women that they can do more with less, then they don't like if you keep telling us that subconsciously, consciously, we keep hearing that, we're going to believe that we can't ask for more, right? That we can only ask for what we need to get by. And that's a mental shift that's got to be ripped apart and changed completely. Absolutely. And I know we're doing a lot of that inside the Unlocking My Millions and in a lot of inside of Truth Bomb Academy, because we recognize this is a conversation that really has to be unprogrammed for women.
Yeah.
We also could, like, if you're working towards a lifestyle that you want instead of a monetary number, it's like it does something to your mindset. It's like, I want this lifestyle that the money can provide. And it doesn't have to be like, I want that Lamborghini, it's like, it's just that freedom to be. It's that freedom to express yourself and to that. It's like when you're not so, it's like if you're living paycheck to paycheck, your freedom is restricted dramatically. Right. But it's like if you're working towards that lifestyle that you want, your whole mindset is different.
Right.
You know what I was just thinking too, and I'm kind of going back through like history, is like women have always been given like stipends, like throughout history up until a certain point within the last 60, almost 70 years, right?
Grocery stipend.
We were given grocery stipends. We were given a budget to run like the household kind of thing. So we always had just enough to take care of that. And whatever budget we were given, we had to make everything happen in the household, right? Women got bank accounts about 65 years ago. We could open up our first bank account so we could have our own money, right? So what's interesting, I think, is that for us women, we haven't gotten out of that programming of asking our worth because we've always just been given a set amount and told we have to make do with this. So, and I think that generationally as women, we've handed that down from parent to child to child to child, not recognizing that this has a consequence at the end of the day, right? And it's nothing it wasn't like done to us. It's that we just kept perpetuating the conversation. So I think that was interesting because I think I hear like from bankers and from people, it says women put together fantastic business plans. We will bring you a detailed everything we're going to do. And the one place we fall short is in the finances because we just make enough to get by. But how do you repay back that loan with that money? How do you, increase your livelihood? How do you increase to give back more to your community if you're just trying to get by or not charge too much for your services?
If you're pricing your service or product just above cost, you're not giving yourself the profit.
Yeah.
You're not building in the profit into what you're valuing your services as.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of bring this back to the audience too, like one thing that I have looked at myself with too is, am I okay on a deep level having a big audience too, right? Like it doesn't just go to the money. It goes to how many eyeballs are looking at you. Yeah. And are you okay with that? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, no, it doesn't. If you have a huge audience, it doesn't mean that you're making a huge amount of money, but it can. And so the question at the end of the day is, are you okay with that? Like that's another programming that I think a lot of women get stuck on too. And that's what keeps us stuck in our life and in our business too. Cause it's like, oh, well, I only want 100 people. Like I only want 1,000 people. And at the end of the day, it's like, wait a minute, what kind of impact could you make if you had more? if you
Mm-hmm.
had people that were, and I'm not just talking about anyone and everyone, I'm talking about like people that actually want your products and services right now. Like, what if you had 1 million people that had their eyeballs on you that were like, I think this person's super cool. I love what they stand for. They're super inspirational. I love their products. I love their services. I love what they have to offer. Like, that comes back to your audience as well, not just the money. Like the millions that we talk about in Unlocking Our Millions, which is our signature course, if anybody doesn't know, is your millions in your audience too, right? Like this is your $1,000,000. This is your million ideas. This is your million joys or funds or your millions, everything that you can have in your business, right? And that comes back to your audience as well. So think about that. Is that something that's scary? Like it can be. It can prevent people from actually building a huge business because they're like, oh, I don't want all those eyeballs on me. But what kind of impact could you create? And you have a special story to share with people. Every single person. And this is something else that I feel like women have something that needs to get unlocked in their brain too. Each and every one of us has something special to say, whether you are stay-at-home mom and you're building a business, whether you've already built your Fortune 500 business, it doesn't matter. You have a special story. So stand in your greatness because each one of us has something huge to create in this world, whatever that may be.
Yeah. And I think you just really said that. So she just really said that. It's like unlock your story. And I think that's the key piece is unlock your story.
Yeah.
And look at where that can be of service to others. And then allow women or your audience in general to be able to go on that journey for themselves and accomplish that result in their own lives. Because I think that's really what that we want is we want people to feel accomplished.
Yeah.
We want people to feel like they're getting something from what we're doing. And that's part of that audience. That's part of nurturing. That's like the eyeballs can be a little daunting. You're going to have some trolls out there, but here's the thing I've discovered over the years. The more compassionate your audience is, the more that they're in, like, they trust you, they will have your back. They won't let trolls through.
Yeah.
They'll
literally jump on top of them.
Smack them down.
They'll smack them down on your behalf. They'll silence them before you get there. They'll notify your support team to remove comments. Like, the beautiful thing about the audience is that they are kind of like your protectors.
Yeah.
They will protect your brand for you. They will advocate on your behalf. And I think one of the best things we can do, and we'll talk about this even more inside of Unlocking My Millions, is allow them to profit from that. That's why there's so many affiliate programs out there. That's why there's so many referral programs out there. That's why even the industry of network marketing works so well, because it allows people to refer things and refer other people and products and services. And as a way of saying thank you, those companies are paying those individuals for being their advocates, for being their audience, for being their voice, for falling in love with the brand. And so those little things that you can then add in for your audience as you continue to grow it, those are some of the best benefits around really nurturing and taking care of your audience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really is about the nurturing and taking care of your audience. And they will have your back too. Like, cause like you said, like they will be your person that's like, oh, don't say that to that person. I love them. They're amazing. They don't feel that way, blah, blah, blah. And like, they literally will just smack it down. And I've had it happen for me before where I'm like, oh, you go, girl. Like,
I have seen it with some really big brands, and I've seen it for some of the companies I've worked with. When you get that I mean, they are literally all over that, like white on rice. They don't put up with anybody bad mouthing or destroying a brand.
Yeah. And in order to receive that, it really is about creating that community with people, letting them be like, this is your place. You have a voice here too. Like the thing that I really love about really spot on brands is that they literally say what their audience is thinking. That's how you literally get people to be like, yeah, rah, rah, I can get behind you all day long because you're saying exactly what I'm thinking. That's how you get inside your audience's head. You literally are like, like on point with everything that they want, everything that they need, all their desires, that kind of thing. So like people are like, yeah, I am so on board. And how you do that is by asking. Ask your audience. What
Yeah.
is it that they want? What is it that's helpful for them? Get clarity. I know if every time I've built any kind of business, well, not network marketing because that was a different story, but anytime I've built a business in the past, I have asked people, what is it that you want? What's important to you?
Yeah.
And they always tell you, always, because it's about them.
Yeah.
Right.
And we
It's
like to
hard
talk
is like
about
when you're
ourselves.
on when you're online to get that engagement immediately, because right, and it's always feels like you're talking to a screen. And so it's like, if you like when you experience being in like a classroom of people who are technically your target audience because they came to the classroom, right? They came to learn this lesson. But if you're still not speaking to them, if you're not getting the engagement from them, I remember this with like homeschooling my kids, or even when I was working with the other kids in the homeschool co-op, it was like the engagement back and forth in the lesson is when you knew the people got it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got it. And it's like, and so when you're getting that engagement, you're actually speaking their language. You know that because they're engaging with you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's like, and even online, it's like when you are on video and you are getting comments from people and you are able to get that engagement, it's like it's speaking their language. It's like, because you're not going to get up there and just tell them all about yourself. They don't give a crap. They
Right.
want to know. It's like it's the same thing with this. It's like it's imagining that audience, and that's why we kind of like define our audience. Like if you ever go through a thing about defining your audience, that's to give you that whole visualization of those people in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we do a really great job of this inside of Unlocking My Millions.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
we're helping you. Like we're not giving it to you because you have to do the work at the end of the day.
It's your audience.
Yeah, it's your audience.
It's your audience.
Yeah. So like
define your audience.
yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, it is your job as the business owner to find that audience. But like I feel like we've done such a great job of helping you guide you in the direction you need to go. And we've heard such great feedback from the people that have gone through the program already that are like, oh man, like this, if I had known this sooner, this would have been a whole lot
If I get
easier.
$1 for every woman that comes to this program and says that one, then that
Oh my
means
God.
it's insane. Because I feel like every single time we say that we do another training, we unlock another piece of the puzzle.
Mhm.
They go like, if I just had known this. And these are individuals, these are female
Even.
entrepreneurs that have been in at this for like probably 5+ years, anywhere between
Yeah.
3 to 5 years. They've spent on average $20,000 to probably $50,000 on their online education so far. And yet find that with inside of Unlocking My Millions, which is a fraction of the cost, right?
Their jaws drop.
The done with you section of Unlocking My Millions for what we're offering, which is the entire course, the book, the playbook that you're going to have. And we go live every single week for both the training and a Q&A office hour, right? The fact that we give you that and we're not even at that price point and women are saying, oh my God, like this has unlocked a whole new creativity for me. This is, if I had just known this when I got started or 2 years ago when I was learning this information, because this now makes sense. Like I hear that all the time. This, I really wish this was something that they were training, because now this actually makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like it truly is. We've made Unlocking My Millions more about how do you do this in a fun way? Like last week with our branding, we literally had like a coloring session. And one of the members was like, oh my God, this alone was $20,000 worth. Like I would spend $20,000 on just this because this actually got me thinking in the direction I needed to go with my brand. I mean,
Got it unstuck.
Yep.
That's the power of actually where we've literally rethought the whole process of, wait a minute, like how do we actually do this in a fun way? Because like a lot of times women, like for me, I'm not going to do anything boring. Like, I probably am going to be singing a stupid ditty the whole time I'm doing something. Like, I could be folding the laundry and we're folding the laundry. Like, that's literally what I'll be doing. And I'll be
Yeah.
dancing and singing. Yeah. And these two know because they've witnessed me do it, because that's just my life. And a lot of us as women, whether we're introverted, extroverted, we want to enjoy the process. I mean,
Well,
one of our members, like, she said this when we first started together with Truth Bomb. She was like, if you're doing the dishes with your kids, you're going to sing and play. Whereas a man is probably just going to do the dishes.
Or make the kids just do them and be like,
Or just make the
they're
kids
only
do 'em.
half clean, they're only half clean.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, it's just like, how do we have fun while we're doing this process? Because that's what, in my opinion, is what's keeping more women from that millionaire status, from actually enjoying their audience.
and to tie this back into what we started this thing, where you actually had the conversation around the riches is in the niches, right? So we hear that all the time. And I will say, like, from my standpoint, that is a very masculine formula for marketing, because it's very singular focused. Women multitask, men have singular focus, right? And so, and I say that because it's true. I haven't yet to meet a woman that can't do everything, watch the kid, do the dishes, try to, she manages a lot more things. When the guys say the riches in the niches, they singularly focus on one thing. When we started diving into branding and unlocking my millions, one of the big things that we've all been really big advocates of is bringing things back together instead of pulling them apart, which is what I keep hearing. Go and niche down. Here's your mindset. Here's your branding. Here's your this. Like, we've torn it all apart, right? Because we've been told that we have to niche down. The problem that women have with this is that we're holistic. We see things at a 360-degree like impact, right? Like, when we look at something, we don't think of just what's going on in front of us. We actually start to see what might have the ripple effect of this, right? And so when we started looking at how do we teach branding, we knew that we had to bring in the play, and we knew that we had to do it in a certain way. We also knew we had to change the questions around branding, right? Because of how women look at branding differently. What's important? What's the value behind it? So we had to, instead of start separating, pulling things out and saying, oh, here's your coloring book over here, here's your mindset over here, we recognized we had to bring that together. And that's something you do not see. I promise you, I've gone through so much training recently. I still don't see this holistic bringing together of bringing these ideas. And I think that's something that we do so well inside of Unlocking My Millions, right? We bring in the mindset, we get you present, we give you the information, and then we add that play into it, because that's how we learn. And I think we've so systematically made learning so much of like, do this, and this, that we've taken the fun out of learning.
I like to have fun. I'm sorry, but I just
Why
can't
do
do
it?
There was a
Yeah.
boo-boo lip. If you guys didn't see it, it was a boo-boo lip. It was like,
Yeah,
oh,
and it was a little baby voice because
Right.
I just can't handle it.
But what we realized even with Unlocking My Millions inside the Truth Bomb Academy is that we could not niche down the information, because to do that was actually continuing the disservice to women. We had to like bring it back to life again. We actually had to kind of revive it, like bring
CPR. CPR.
One thing I've seen recently too from big influencers on YouTube, like big influencers, like people that you probably have heard of before, they're actually talking about how when you niche down, it's actually a disservice to you because you're more than just that one topic.
Yeah.
So, and people actually want to hear, especially as you grow. When you're first
Yep.
brand new, people don't really care about your life. But as you start to grow, they want to know how you're building your business alongside living your life. Like they want to see that because they want to know that you're a regular person too.
Yeah.
And you might have things that would be helpful for them that you're doing that it's like, oh, I didn't even think to do that. And just by watching you in your day,
Yeah.
that makes it be like, oh, you're relatable. And that was a really good tip. I want to do that. So think about that as you're building your audience too. Now, as you first start out, people really do want to know, like, what can you give me? But then
Right.
as they get comfortable with you, as they start to be like, oh, you're a person, I'm a person. what do you do on a regular day-to-day basis? That's the reason like the whole get ready with me videos are so big, because people want to know, like, how do you get ready in the morning? Like, what do you do? Like, how does that fit into your day, kind of thing. And so at the end of the day, it really is about being that whole person too, not just this one subset of this one niche. Ask yourself, how can you actually expand yourself a little bit more and still have that be a part of the niche, still have that be a part of what you're focusing on, instead of just one focus. This is the only thing I talk about all day, every day, amen, kind of thing. And what we're starting to see on social media, on the internet, is that it's more about that holistic view. It's more about, wait a minute, you're a person too. I want to know a little bit more about what you do also. So, yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting because especially for women as female entrepreneurs, we have a hard time niching down. And I was just thinking about this earlier today as we were jumping onto this podcast. We're going to have this conversation. I said, niching down is like having 3 kids, but only focusing on one.
Ooh,
That's
ouch.
rude.
That's literally.
I get it, but that's a harsh way to put it.
Yeah, that was rude.
Right? I told you, truth bomb. Right?
Did she really say that? Yeah, she did.
Mhm.
Yeah. You only
Yeah,
have one
rude.
kid that's your favorite. You have the other 2 that are in the corner. Good luck with you.
Yeah. That's like what niching down does. It's like, okay, you niche down, and then as you get that child perfect, then you can address the other children. Like, that's how I feel like it's being taught to us. Right?
Or
Focus
you're-
on this one. Go ahead.
You're talking to that one child and you're expecting the other 2 to learn from that conversation. It doesn't work that way.
No.
My youngest tried that. He did tell me, he goes, I watched them and I saw the wrong things that they did. And I just looked at him, I was like, and you'll discover your own wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's like, we don't learn from, we don't learn from that person's mistake. We have to make our own mistakes.
We do. And that's part of the process. Like, we've made a lot of mistakes here inside of Truth. I'm just getting started. And that's part of our growing process, right? That's like, it's natural. And if we look at it, it's like we fail forward. So failure is first attempt in learning is what they brought down the acronym.
Yes.
So
that works.
to fail means it's your first attempt in learning. And I think that, even when for all of us as women, is that we've got to be a more holistic, because I have yet to meet a single female entrepreneur to be totally straight. And I'd be on the phone doing a coaching call and they would always be like, but I want to do this, and this in my business. And I was told, no, get niche down, find the one thing. But I think that's what hurts women, is because we can't just focus in on the one kid. We have to look at the bigger picture. We have to look at how we're going to get them to their school, their after school activities, the grocery shopping, the lunch. Like, we don't look at just that one thing. We look at the holistic impact to their life and how that day is going to go. And that was, again, one of the things we looked at when we said, how do women create their business playbook? It had to be holistic. It had to incorporate more than just a niche defined process.
I think it's more at this point, like, have a theme.
Yes.
That's
I like
the
that.
thing. Have a theme of what you're going for. What are you trying to create? Like, for us, we're like, we want to create more female millionaires that have more time and money. Like, that's what we want to do. Like, that, we want to create more happy female millionaires in this world. So, like, that's our theme. But there's all these different subsets that go into it, right? So I've always looked at branding as an umbrella, okay? So, like, you have your main umbrella, like, this is the thing that you're really focused on, but then an umbrella has these little things that hang off of it. So what are under that umbrella? What are the topics that you're going to continue to talk about in there? Not just the one topic, because that's boring. Nobody wants
There's
to.
always subtopics. There's always subtopics to a main idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but what's your main theme? What's the main thing that you're gonna be focusing on? And then from there, like, share with people about how you did it with 3 kids, how you did it with being single, how you did it with being whatever you are. It doesn't matter. Like, how did you do it? Like, share that with people, because that's what people want to know. Like, that's the secret sauce that's important to people.
They want to know what the obstacle you overcame by using this method.
Yeah.
Or this way of doing things.
Yeah.
because they want to see themselves and have the idea that they can overcome that obstacle themselves, because that's where a lot of us, that's the belief.
Yeah.
Right. That's where belief comes into play. It's like, we want to know that we can do that. And so you kind of have to show somebody first. That's why leadership is so important, because sometimes, and the three of us are definitely leaderships in female entrepreneurship. I mean, in terms of teaching and training a new way to do business, we're leading from the front.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, when you start to be a leader, you've got to recognize that you're going to make, some mistakes along the way. And that's where you look back and say, I learned from this. Let me teach you what I learned from by doing this. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing we can always gift women, especially teaching them entrepreneurship, is that we are learning this new form of business together. And we're going together increase and better this whole entire movement around, female business education, and how we look at marketing, business, branding, audience different, but how it blends into what's already out there. It just enhances it.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty behind it, is that we can add such a beautiful enhancement and creativity back into this world that feels very strategic in practice.
Yeah. And one thing we didn't even really touch on, but I think that this is so important, is that as women, we want to actually build that community because we want to feel connected to people, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just say, I have an audience online, it feels really inauthentic. It feels really like there's just people online that follow me. No, we actually want to create a community with people. And I know whenever I first got on social media, I didn't necessarily do this where I created a community with other business builders like me. But when I started doing that, that's when things started to change. And that's when it was like, oh, this is more fun because I have other people that are doing the same thing as me. Maybe they don't necessarily need my product or service because they're probably in the same place or higher than where I am in my life or my business. But having that community with other business owners too is just, it's a game changer, because you can bounce ideas off of people, you can connect with people, they can help you when there are trolls, or you can help them when there are trolls on social media, online, whatever, doesn't matter. But it's like you create this community of people and not just an audience of who, I don't know these people, you actually are connected with them. That's the other piece. And that to me is the other thing that's super important when you go online, is actually creating those relationships with people so that you can have that back and forth and feel like you're actually making a difference, inspiring people, doing the things that you know you need to do because you're connecting with other business owners that are doing similar things.
And the other part into that, I was just reading the other day, we talk about, building out your ideal product, like your MVP, your most valuable product. Well, inside of that, one of the things that I was doing some more research on, and there's things, but the audience, once you build an audience, the audience will always buy. So the great thing about establishing an audience for longevity is I see so many women build the one and done product.
Yeah.
Right. They offer that one coaching session or that one piece. Where do they go next? Where can they get supported in that same conversation after they're done with you? Right. Where can they go once they're done with that course? Where's their next step? And I think that's one of the missing pieces, is that women want to be so helpful, but you can't be all of these areas around business, which is why we built the academy. Yeah. Because we recognized that we were going to need women of experience to support this conversation beyond us. But the idea is that once you have that audience, if you put a product in front of them and you keep serving them, right, you will continue to grow that income, but you have to recognize your own boundaries around doing that. I've met a lot of people that got into product or digital creation. And then, of course, to keep that income in, they would sell something every single time. Well, to sell a new product over and over again, year after year after year, is super exhausting.
Yeah.
Right. It takes up a lot of your mental capacity, a lot of your creativity capacity to sit there and create a course, knowing, especially if you're going after a social media platform, that within 6 months it's obsolete. Yeah. For the majority, because the tactics keep changing, or the algorithms keep changing, or they're updating themselves. And the reason they're doing that as a business is to keep their end users engaged. So they have to do these updates to keep their business going. And as a user of it, you're going out and trying to teach that. Well, you don't have control over the platform, right? So you want to make sure that you either have access to a community that you can refer people to. We talk about later on inside of Unlocking My Millions, the collaboration piece, right? How do you collaborate and network so that you can continue offering products and services that are aligned with what you're doing inside of your business? And I think that's the secret sauce that so few really talk about, but that gives women that freedom, because we talked about money freedom, we talk about time freedom. Well, trust me, I've done it. You do not want to sit there and build out a course every single year to sell something, because it is a time suck. You're not making money while you're doing that, because you are so focused on the creativity, you cannot possibly in any way, shape, or form focus on anything else. So I know that this is going to be wrapped up here in just a second, but I just wanted to put that in because I thought that was important.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, that's the reason that I asked you guys, hey, do you want a business partner? Because I was like, I know that I need to create some sort of community like this. I know that that's like how I'm going to create my longevity, but I know I don't want to do it by myself, because I know there's a lot that goes into it. So at the end of the day, like when I looked at myself and what I wanted to do, I was like, to be a happy person, to be a happy millionaire, I think I need some friends to help me along the way. I don't want to do this. Yeah. Help.
Yeah.
So that's important too. Like,
It is.
I mean, and here's the other thing, like not all people want a business partner. Not all people should have or need a business partner, but if that's something that you feel led for, like go for it. See if there is someone, and don't just run after anyone and everyone. Really spend some time and like think about it. I went through this process of thinking about this it was over a year. I had multiple people be like, I feel like you're supposed to work with someone else. I feel like you're supposed to work with someone else. And I would be like, okay, I wonder who it's going to be. I don't know. It'll show up when it's supposed to. And that's literally what happened. And it was like, oh. And so Katrina is like talking about all the things that she wants to do with Truth Bomb, and she just got off a call with a mentor, and I was like, oh, maybe it's supposed to be Katrina. I don't know. Let's just ask and see what happens, you know? And so, and that's how this whole thing was birthed too. Like, it was like, let's see if that's a possibility. So you never know where this crazy world of entrepreneurship is going to take you. Let's just be honest.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff that comes along the way. So yeah. So with that, I think that's a wrap. I think that this was a really good one as far as like talking about your audience, creating your millions with your audience, creating your millions of audience members. Like think about that too. Like that, I feel like is an important thing to think about. Are you okay being in front of a lot of eyeballs? So, but anyways, so with that, I think that that's a wrap with Did She Really Say That? And we are like really excited with what's going on inside of Unlocking My Millions. So if you're a female entrepreneur and you're looking to actually expand your business in a more fun, holistic way that doesn't suck you dry, make you feel frustrated or overwhelmed, join us inside Unlocking My Millions. We have some links for you. You can go to truthbombmarketing.com and you can join us today. And like Katrina said earlier, we have a done for you, done with you. Like that's the place to be. Do it with us, because that's really where you're going to A, have more fun, and B, you're probably going to be like, oh, this makes a whole lot more sense. So check us out. We would love to hang out with you. Can't wait to hang out with you inside of Truth Bomb Academy as well. Bye.